Hello, and how are you? Thank you so much for joining me today for this very exciting demonstration of Kiddom and the illustrative mathematics curriculum. Kendall Hunt has joined forces, if you will, with Kiddom. We formed a partnership this past spring in order to bring a more robust digital platform to illustrative mathematics users. Kiddom is a subscription option to those schools who are interested in having an interactive, robust digital teacher guide where teachers can edit and collaborate with their instruction. Students can access the curriculum and see what and participate in the instruction, put their answers, their responses, their solutions into the Kiddom platform, where teachers then can grade and comment and provide feedback. The last portion of the Kiddom platform is really, I think its most unique attribute is the data collection. The work that students do, those assignments can be graded, collected, monitored over time, and teachers, administrators can really get a strong picture of how students are progressing through the curriculum, where their needs are, where their needs are being met, and even where their needs need to be better supported. So really a full, robust digital platform, and we're really proud to bring illustrative mathematics and Kiddom together. So we are going to take a look here at the Kiddom platform. I'm going to give you a couple different views so you can get a feel for what kind of features are available in this curriculum. At this juncture, we are looking at the teacher guide. So I've logged in as a teacher, and when I get to here, I am looking at my curriculum options. Take note, in the upper right-hand corner, I have some different locations that I can head to. I am currently in my curriculum view, and we'll visit some of these others along the way. The My Content view is an opportunity to save some of your content that you have collected or even maybe designed. The K-12 library is an opportunity inside of Kiddom to access other OER content. Kiddom has over, I think, 7,000 different curriculums that are free to you. Some are subscription-based, but you have this ability to go in and add that a particular activity or lesson view into your illustrative math lesson planning. So that's kind of our view there. Then we'll go look at classes. We're going to start with the curriculum. In this curriculum view, I'm going to kind of give you just kind of a picture here of what all is available. We are going to go into my illustrative mathematics lessons and start there. For now, for these demonstration purposes, we are looking at, we've been given one unit of second grade, one unit of one lesson of second grade, seventh grade, and algebra. For our purposes here, as you are my K-5 audience, we're going to look at this lesson in second grade. When I click on this lesson, it opens me to the teacher guide. In this teacher guide view, I have everything that you would see if you had the print book laid out in front of you. And so as I kind of go down, just kind of scroll down here, you'll see all of those pieces, the standards, the lesson timeline, teacher reflection questions, things that are going to support your instruction. This purple section are each of the activities separated from the lesson. We also have your PDFs and Word documents that you can use inside of your instruction, but these are here as additional resources for you. Coming soon, we will have down here at the bottom the presentation slides for each lesson to use as a complement to your instruction. So let's scroll back up to the top. I am going to go into edit mode. Now, the reason I'm going to go into the edit mode is that I want to take a look at this particular lesson from the point of view of how am I instructing it and what changes might I want to consider to how my students are going to respond inside this lesson. I can also put in timing, how many minutes I want students to work on this this particular lesson. We can say that it's second grade. We can say that we want to do, let's say 20 minutes. And so there's different notes that you can add along the way to help support your instruction and the view that students are going to be getting. So as we go down here, earlier I suggested that we would be able to make some additions to the content and also be able to share them with my team. So let's say we're planning, my second grade teachers and I are all looking at this lesson and planning it out. And we have decided that we would like to add this to our PLC time. So in my notes here, I am going to make some additional comments. So adding this, oops, I lost my place here. There we go. So when I click on that, you kind of get a live text box opens up, and here I can make some additional notes. So we're adding this lesson to upcoming PLC. Bring student work samples. Okay, so I've added this note to the lesson. I want to highlight this only because it's going to be just something that we've added. So I want my teacher group to see that. I can easily select it, highlight it, and give it a color. Let's call it blue. As we were making plans for this lesson, we also wanted to, we felt that we needed our attention to be drawn to this word unknown. The purpose of the lesson is for students to compare problems with an unknown in all the positions. So we wanted to kind of bring that, highlight it, and bring it to everybody's attention as we all instruct in our own separate classrooms. So those are some additional changes that I've added to my teacher content. I can also make any other arrangements or changes as we see fit. As I move down the page, there is an opportunity to select student-facing content versus not. And because illustrative mathematics really focuses on this let's idea and including all students in it, I want to include this let's solve compare problems when we go to the student view. So I'm going to check this student-facing box in this capacity. I can see my timing. So I'm going to be using this during my instruction coming up. So I think I have all the notes that I need and everything highlighted. And what I want to do is go in and make some edits to the content. Now, previously, my students have already completed the warm-up and activity 1. So we are going to open up activity 2 and see how that looks, because I want to assign this to my students to complete first for their work tomorrow in class. Again, I'm going to point out this upper left-hand corner of this page. I can give a timing to the students as to how long they're going to work on these compare problems. And I might want to say, just 8 minutes. We're not going to, I just want you to kind of really focus your time on 8 minutes. It is going to be formative, and I am going to call it homework. Now, the reason I'm going to call it homework, because when I look at my choices here, if I give it a participation, then I'm not able to get a grade out of it. If it's a test or a midterm, this is really not. It's a to activity out of a particular lesson. So in the homework capacity, I can give it some points and then therefore start to collect some data on how my students are progressing here. Now, again, at the top, I still have my edit button on. Before we finish, we are going to go look at this preview button, and the preview button is new. It gives me the opportunity to look at this activity after I've made changes to it in the same view that students would see it. When I'm finished, I'm going to assign it and then call it done. So let's continue on down here and see what we've got. These are all things that my students don't need to see. They don't need to see the standards or any instructional routines that I might impart on the lesson as we are working through it together. There's the activity narrative. So this would be exactly the view that I would use when I'm working with my students inside the classroom. This would be my support for guiding. As I get down here towards the bottom, I now have the opportunity to look at the student work and the questions that they are going to be working through as we complete the lesson. I have checked off student facing. I'm going to look at this first question here. It's currently as a written response. Jada ate 10 fewer cherries than Noah. Noah ate 27 cherries. How many cherries did Jada eat? Well, I think I want to switch this response. So students, I as the teacher have the opportunity to change the responses as to how students are going to interact with the answers that they're going to provide to me. So I'm going to select multiple select, not multiple choice, but multiple select, which gives me a number of different options. It could be the 2 answers are correct. It could be that I'm just giving 3 answers because there's some options for me as a teacher to select answers that are errors and what might be showing me, telling me something about how students are progressing. So as I selected that, I'm going to go in multiple select. My answer A is going to be 17. If you look at the teacher notes just below this question, you'll see that 17 is the correct answer. So I'm going to put that in the answer choice. I'm also going to mark this box as the correct answer. I then go to B, and here's where I want to think through what kind of responses I'm going to offer to my students. When we look here, when we got Jada ate 17 cherries, Jada ate 10 fewer cherries, maybe my students aren't going to really recognize that fewer word, and they're going to do some addition in their heads instead. So they might say 37 as their answer. So I'm going to put that in as one of the options that students might choose. And then I'm also going to add an additional answer so that there's going to be 3 choices. Now, again, in this view, in this choice, I want to think about how my students might have misconceptions about this. So they might say, we said 37, Jada ate 10 fewer cherries, Noah ate 27 cherries. Maybe students might confuse this and think that there's 27 cherries, the exact same as Noah. So we're going to put these answers in. We've got our boxes filled in for these. We're now going to continue to scroll down and go look at question number 2. Noah spent 25 minutes swimming. Jada, this one asks for a written response. A written response, students are going to give a text box and just enter their reply. Now, I might want to say here in this question box, please provide a diagram, picture, or equation to explain answer. Okay, so I just want to elaborate on that question and make sure that my students in their written response are giving me more. I'm going to continue my way down in reviewing these questions. Here we've got another question where Jada is reading 47 pages, Noah's reading. Now, in this particular instance, I am going to ask students to give me an audio response. So when I select the audio response, students are then going to get an audio box that they can open up and record their reply. As we continue down, the next question, and now we're at the end. So I'm going to leave this a written response as well. And again, I'm going to add to this provide explanation of your solution. Now here I didn't list to them that I wanted a diagram or a picture, again, sort of testing the waters if students are going to go ahead and make those leaps. And so I think I'm pretty satisfied. I'm looking here at question number 4. I don't have this selected as a student-facing portion. I need to check student-facing, student-facing. I don't have any attachment that I'm going to include in this one, so I don't need to have this be a student-facing opportunity. Lost my cursor here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to deselect this, but if I wanted to add some other document or piece of, I could in any of these lessons, going back, double checking. Now I'm going to go back up to the top and I want to preview what I'm going to share with the students. So I hit my preview button and I will be generating what this is going to look like. So the students are seeing Jada 8 fewer. Here's my multiple select. Enter your responses. I just wanted a written response, but my please provide a diagram. Here's where I have a button for my audio and then the students again at the bottom. So that looks good to me. I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm going to go and go back to and assign. I'm going to assign it to my 2nd grade class. Okay, confirm your selections. And now I'm done. So that's my teacher view inside of the curriculum. Now let's go see what I worked on here. I'm going to go to my classes, open my 2nd grade class. Now in this view, I want to show you a couple things. This is my classroom. You'll see my students are in the left side toolbar. I am currently in the classroom. There's also a timeline, reports, and settings. So this is really a function area where I can get to any of these different pieces. I do want to highlight here some announcements in this middle section. So illustrative mathematics really talks about this community that you're building and sharing and including lots of different ideas to get your students engaged. And here is my opportunity to speak to my students. So down here at the bottom, back in April, I sent them a message and I said, have a good weekend. Why don't you send me a message regarding something that you measure this weekend? Later on in May, I sent them a video. And so I created this video.
Hi, class. We had a great day today in math, and I'm hoping that you all think about some of the good strategies we came up with today while you're working on your homework. I will be online between 7 and 8. So if you have any questions, just reach out.
This is a great way to communicate to my students, send them reminders about things that we worked on in class. And also, in this particular case, let them know when I'm available. So up here is one I could add today. You can add, this is where you add your video or your audio. I could upload a document, maybe a chart that we worked on in class today that gave us, that we thought through some steps and some hints. So really a great communication tool here. And I'll show you how this works on the other end when we go to look at the students and what they get. When we move into the timeline portion, so we now have, I just assigned the solving compare problems. So it's showing up. As I go to more, it shows that last week the kids worked on the warm-up and activity 1. I also want to add the cool down so that the students this week are going to also complete activity 2 and the cool down. Within these two things, so if you look on the right-hand side, I've got all of my curriculum options, very similar view to what we just saw when we were in the teacher planning mode of it. I can still go back here and make some changes as well. So I could edit this info. So I'm going to edit my cool down. And instead of being due on July 16th, I am going to say that it's going to be due on July 13th because I need them to get this stuff completed for me. And then if I look at my activity 2, it is saying that it's due on Friday. I'm going to edit that information as well because I would like it to be due today. I'm sorry, tomorrow. So for the 13th. That way the students are going to complete activity 2 and the cool down tomorrow when they come to class. So here I have my setup. The other thing I want to point out here, so now I've got some new assignments, but look below and you'll see assignments that I previously assigned, but you'll also see which ones I've graded out of how many there are to grade. So that's sort of telling me I need to get back to work and get those assignments graded for my students. I could, if I wanted, assign this whole lesson. As you see, I just click and drag over the whole thing. And now here's all of lesson of this grade 2 lesson that we are looking at just in parts. So I'm gonna take those back and push them back out. Oops. But it's very easy platform to move and change curriculum so that you can set up and do your planning. And so I just moved all these in and now I can just go through and delete them. Really simple, add, delete, change your mind. Nice way to plan out your lessons. Okay, I'm going to continue to delete these. Okay. So now that we've sort of walked through all of this, I wanted to give you a view of the student side. And we are going to go take a look at one of my students' pages and get a view of what they see after we made these assignments to them. So I'm going to share this new page with you. So we are now in the student view. So as a student, when I log in, this is where I get started. I'm going to go to Miss Yakey's class, open up my 2nd grade class. And there we go. So we are looking at Mr. Binky Barnes' class page. And he, right here, has that same view when you first get in of the classroom. All the students are on the left side. Again, a classroom, a timeline, and reports from the student view. In this center pane are my previous announcements. the video that I sent to them in May, questions that are there. And here is where Binky would have the opportunity to reply to me. So that if he wanted to respond, he has the opportunity to send me a message back. When we go to his timeline, we are now looking at the activities that I just assigned. We have next week assignments, and then we have this week assignments. If I go back and load more, I can go look at previous assignments that I had as a student. You'll have to excuse my view here. I've only have my one lesson to demo with you, so I have kind of repeatedly stuck them in and out of the weeks, but it really gives you a view of how this color coding works. So you've got these color coding opportunities as a student when you come in, and you can say, oh, I've got 5 new assignments, and there's none of them are due today, but oh my gosh, I've got 7 that are late, and 2 that have been done and turned into my teacher. So this really gives a lot of student responsibility for the work that they're doing, keeping up with it, and then monitoring their own progress. If I go into our activity 2, we are getting that exact same view that we had when I did the preview. So if I now go through and solve these compare problems as Binky, I can complete the work. Jada 8, 10 fewer. I am going to say that I made a mistake, and I think that Jada 8, 37. And there we go. As I go down, I now have a box that I can put my answer in. So Noah spent 25 minutes swimming. Jada spent 30 minutes more swimming. So I can type in my response. So Noah swam for 25 minutes, but Jada swam 30 more minutes. So that is 25 plus 30 to equal 55. So how many minutes did Jada spend swimming? Jada swam. Okay. Continuing down, if we go to an audio, now I can click on my audio button. Now this is really a fun opportunity for students to verbally express what their ideas were. I click on this, I give permission for an audio recording, I press on the microphone, I get a countdown, 3, 2, 1. And then as I can now record my answer to my teacher, Miss Yiki, I found out that that Noah did way more than Jada, and I can't remember the question, so I don't have it in there. And then I use this recording. When I submit this to my classroom teacher, she's going to be able to listen to my recording and get all the ideas that I expressed in that recording for my answer. Last question, Noah listened to 14 more songs. I'm thinking we have addition again. I'm going to say this is addition. So 14 plus 28 equals 42. Okay, I'm finished. I've gotten all the way down to the bottom. I'm ready to submit my answers, and away I go. My assignment's been submitted. I'm done. I go back to my timeline as a student, and now you can see it turned green because I submitted it. Next, I can work on my cool down. So this is the student view. Students also can get reports from their student view. I don't have a lot of things submitted. So as a student, I'm not getting a great dynamic view here. But I can get some report cards. So I'm going to look at my assignments and see what my report looks like so far. And there we go. I can print this up. I can show it to my mom. I can say, oh my goodness, Mrs. Yaki, you haven't graded a bunch of things that I turned in. But it does give this ongoing view for students to check off homework they've done, things that they participate, a quiz, lots of different areas that the teacher has designed for this purpose. So that's the teacher view, the student view, I'm sorry. And then we've got one more view I'd like to share with you. And this is from the administrator side. When we go in as an administrator, one of the other things that makes Kiddom unique is the fact that the information that's collected can be shared across the district so that your district leadership, principals, any other coordinating individuals in the district can look at the whole school, can look at teachers, can look at grade levels. The dashboard here gives you some options. So we're going to look at the teacher dashboard. So these are all the teachers in my school. And then we're going to go down to me and look at my dashboard. And it kind of gives a view of how many assignments I've assigned. Only 31 have been scored. I got to get some work done there. But it also gives a percentage of students and their mastery and how they are doing. I can open this view and it will pop me back to my reports view for my students. In this particular view, I can look at everyone. I can look at one of my students. You can also group students so that you can get make some assignments or do some work on some groups who have some particular needs. I'm going to go back to my timeline here. And I'm going to pause for a moment, waiting for the rest of my page to come into view. And I'm waiting. So in this view, what I'm hoping to get to is I want to show you Binky's assignment that was sent in to me. So I'm back on my teacher page. I'm now waiting for some things to come up here. I might just go back and find my other teacher view and share that page with you just to be more expeditious. Okay. And there we go. So now, as I look at my classroom and I look at my timeline, there we go, running a little better. I've got one submitted here under activity 2. I open up that activity, and here on my left side toolbar is Binky's response. And now I can grade the work that Binky submitted to me. I can provide feedback over here so that he gets some responses regarding how I'm grading him. But then all of these responses, this grades then goes into the collection of the data for him. So this sort of wraps up our view of the teacher guide, how you can use it for planning as a cooperative team, for sharing those details, how you can make adjustments to the content for students for their participation in the assignment, for even notes to yourself on what you might want to do to orchestrate the assignment. We've seen the student view, what they get, how they can interact with the content. And then lastly, that data view, so that all of the information about your students continually grows and gets collected. These become really important aspects when we start to see which particular standards students are doing well at, or maybe have some gaps, particularly after this last year of distance learning. Being able to really target those needs for students is going to be so helpful as we kind of move students, get them back on track and help them move forward. So I want to thank you so much today for your time. I hope that I was able to give you enough of a view. Please let me know if you have additional questions, and we can get back together and continue to have this discussion. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.